I think because he was trying to be both principled and fair. He was trying to abide the Department of Justice ruling that says you can't indict a sitting president, and reasoned that if I can't indict a sitting president, I ought not to accuse him of a crime because that wouldn't be fair. Given that I can't clear him, I'll just lay out the evidence for a future prosecutor and for Congress.
But one of the things you said in your book is that you believe your firing was potentially obstruction of justice, and the special counsel didn't go that far.
Right. He just collected the evidence, which if you read it, and I hope folks will actually read it, is deeply concerning. But he decided not to make the call because he thought that wouldn't be a fair thing to do. So I'll just compile it all. And what he compiled is really concerning, especially when you look at the 10 episodes together.
One of the things the Attorney General points to in those 10 episodes is that there was kind of an initiating event that put the president's mindset in, since intent is important. The president thought, this is going to mess up my administration. And one of the things Barr focused on was your reluctance to tell the public that the president was not actually under investigation. The president, not having you not tell the public, felt like, oh my gosh, this is all stacked against me. And that was kind of the initiating thing that made him so paranoid.
Yeah, I heard the Attorney General say that, and I don't think it's a fair summary of the evidence. That may be his motive, but a whole lot of people commit crimes in this country because they're frustrated and they're angry. That isn't the question. The question is, when he did the things he did, was he intending to obstruct justice? He may have a motive to push something away that embarrasses him or irritates him. That's actually not the key question.
Have you been surprised by Bill Barr's summary letter?
Yes.
What surprised you?
That it struck me, especially after I read the Mueller report, as misleading. I'm not suggesting it was intentionally misleading, but it was inadequate to summarize that work.
What was misleading about what the Attorney General said?
Well, it certainly gave the impression that Bob Mueller had decided that he was not going to rule on this question of obstruction of justice, when that's not what Mueller did. Mueller laid it out and signaled to a future prosecutor, after this individual is out of office, you ought to take a serious look at charging him.
You know, the Republicans have said, case closed, time to move on here. Do you think that, do they have a point?
Well, I think they have a point in the sense that the American people now have a clear view of how the president acted. Read the report.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a clear enough view of Donald Trump's character and the way he approaches this office, you now do. It's time to move on to the most important thing we do, which is vote to decide who should represent us as President of the United States.
The Attorney General says he believes spying occurred in looking after the president's then campaign. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about. The FBI doesn't spy. The FBI investigates. We investigated a very serious allegation that Americans might be hooked up with the Russian effort to attack our democracy. The Republicans need to breathe into a paper bag. If we had confronted the same facts with a different candidate, say a Democrat candidate, where one of their advisors was talking to a foreign adversary's representative about that adversary's interference in our election, they would be screaming for the FBI to investigate, and that's all we did.
So the debate is a semantic one. The FBI was investigating into the Trump campaign, but you're saying they had cause to, and you just wouldn't use the word spy.
Of course. And people just ought to look at the predication for the opening of that investigation. We should have been fired if we didn't investigate this.